So, Michele, I just want to, I mean, you're trained as a lawyer, you work in the academic world. There's this document that people used to read. It's called the Declaration of Independence. And there's this line in there, and would you do me a favor? Would you just kind of make a comment and describe to us what these people were actually trying to say? And it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What do those three words mean in that sentence, in that context? Help us understand it.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life is the first guarantee that all of us have, and that's that we have life. We're allowed to enjoy life. That's why we believe in pro-life, that all life from conception till natural death is protected. Liberty means freedom. If you have to have life first. Liberty is built on top of that, and that means you have freedom, not license. Not licensed to sin or do wrong, but liberty. You're free to follow the will of God. And then pursuit of happiness actually meant the enjoyment of your personal labor, the fruits of your labor. So when you go to work and you get a paycheck, you get money, that's yours. That's not the government's. That is yours. That's what that meant in the Declaration, is that you get to keep your money. And then, there's taxes, of course, but it isn't the government's money. Today, that's been turned upside down, where the government thinks whatever you make is theirs, and then you get to keep a little bit of chump change. So it's completely different. But it is probably the heart and soul of the American life. You just gave the mission statement for the United States of America, because that statement, written by Thomas Jefferson, states that all of our rights don't come from government. They don't even come from us. They come from the one who made us, the Creator. The Creator made us. He gave us rights, and we're the ones who keep those rights. Government didn't give them to us. Government can't take those rights away. They can't take away life. They can't take away liberty. They can't take away the fruits of our labor. That's what that says. But each of us gives a little portion of our rights to government so we can have a well-ordered society. Otherwise, you have anarchy. That's what the founders foresaw in the United States, that we would have a well-ordered society where we give up limited, very few rights to government, and that's what the Constitution was for. The Constitution was like taking a hammer and nails and nailing down the government, the power of the government. Very limited, very restricted as to what they could do. That's, of course, been inverted and turned inside out, but the meaning of the Declaration is who we are, who God is, who we are under God, and then the Constitution is the limitation of rights on government, which can be like a monster. They knew how monstrous government could be. I don't think they could have ever imagined how monstrous government could be in a period like today.
And you think about today, people, the discussion, churches shouldn't talk about politics or anything like that. But this is rooted in theology. That statement is a theological statement.
Yes.
Created by God.
Right.
And so therefore we have the Imago Dei, therefore life is precious. And how has these recent days, those three things been attacked? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How's that just being?
Well, it's attacked in every way. I mean, I would say today, in terms of life, now we're getting to the present issue that's on the stage. It's the 900-pound gorilla in the room, which is the forced vaccinations. When government tells you what you must do, inject something in your body, that's never happened in the history of the United States. It's never happened.
But it has happened. It has happened in evil governments in other parts of the world.
This is even almost beyond that, to force everyone to take a vaccine that hasn't gone through all the trials. And then now, if you look at the VAERS reporting system, there's tremendous injuries, many, many deaths that have been reported. And so a government doesn't just force everyone to take something like that against their will. Here in the state of Minnesota, like I had said earlier, Governor Walz today announced that every state employee, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. To force them to take this, we were all told the University of Minnesota would not mandate. Now they're backflipping, forcing. You got to ask yourself, what does this have to do with science? What does this have to do with health? what does this have to do with control? And that's really the essence of your question, is control. Who gets to decide? Because what we are witnessing is the end of democracy, the end of a constitutional republic. Because the gift that we have is we got to choose, just like Deuteronomy. They got to choose. Here in America, we got to choose through elections, through the laws that we live under. That's over. That's over. When you steal a presidential election, when you steal from us laws, because every single day it is utter and complete lawlessness coming out of Washington, D.C. Every single day. They don't follow the law. They take away rights that we had just like that. They don't even think twice. They don't care because they just speak it, and that's the way that it is. And that is bizarre. I've been in this game my entire life. In a student of the law, a practitioner of the law. I was a federal tax lawyer. I was in the state and local government. I served in the Minnesota State Senate with Senator Warren Limmer. I was privileged to serve in the U.S. Congress. I was at every single level that you could be at. Internationally, I was there. Never in my life have I seen anything like this. It is breathtaking. So when all of you think, whoa, I'm saying with you, whoa. There's never been anything like this before. And that's why we need to wake up and understand the times as believers. If we look at it through the lens of the Bible, all of this makes sense. All of this was predicted. The apostasy in the church, the apathy in the church, the rise of the filth like the days of Noah, the burden of government everywhere. This is all predicted in the Bible. And that's why it isn't just, the birth pangs are very, very close now. They're very, very close, and they're very, very intense. So I agree with Jan. Jesus is at the door. But I really do think, I would advise all pastors, keep the church doors open.
Amen.
Don't ever lock them again. Don't ever do that. Keep your churches open. Come and be together. And then, more than we ever have before, reach out and love each other. That is what Jesus said we were supposed to do. We were supposed to love each other as we want to be loved. That's the golden rule. Do unto each other. This is really, I think, one of the greatest times for love. We've been so satisfied and able to take care of ourselves. And I think this is what we're going to see is more and more need. And so we need to learn how practically to love each other. How can we love each other? How can we supply for each other? What can we do? That's part of the miracles that we'll be seeing. But if we don't know each other, if we're not connected, we won't know if you're suffering or if you don't have food or what's going on. We need to be talking to each other in community. So that's why whether it's a Bible study,
There you go, home groups. Yeah.
whether it's home groups, or even if it's like you're on the phone together. I'm part of prayer groups where we Zoom as prayer groups, and so we stay in community through that way, because some are in California, some are in other places, so we stay together. You've got to figure out how to do it. But I think this is really when you want to be dialed into a pastor, dialed into a church, dialed into a group where your needs are going to be met together, because I'm telling you, the Word of God is going to be more alive now in your personal lives than you've ever seen. His word is going to be like four-dimensional in your life. Why? Because we're going to need it so much. And that's why where sin abounds, grace abounds even more. Get ready. Get ready for the greatest days of your life. This is not fake Pollyanna. This is the Word of God.